What's up? This is your boy Rasheem Kilo Pugh, and we are on Save the Arts TV, and this is The World is Listening. And yes, today we definitely got a super dope special guest, Shante Renee in the building. What's up?
What's up? What's good? What's good, everybody? What's good?
Yo, it's been a while. I've been waiting for this interview.
Yes, a long time coming.
So tell the people where you're from and what you do.
I am a Philadelphia native.
I know you're from Philly.
Yes,
I did
absolutely.
not know that.
Yes,
Okay.
but Greensboro is home right now.
How long you been in Greensboro?
I've been in Greensboro since 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, continue.
Yes, and I am a community organizer, serial entrepreneur, mother, lover, and all good things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, community organizer, deep dive into that.
So, community organizer looks like just bringing my community together by any means necessary. So, whether that's politically, going out and inspiring people to vote, to raise issues in their community, talk about those things, build relationships with your local government, curating events, bringing people together. I love a good event now. Like, I love social media, but sometimes it's anti-social media. We got to come together and connect.
What kind of events are you doing?
So, poetry, community-based events. Of course, I've been managing the People's Market. If people follow me or, you're new to knowing Shante Renee, I started out as a vendor at the People's Market, and that was in 2016.
What is the People's Market?
The People's Market is a open air night market that operates every Thursday evening from April to August. And it's just like handmade, homemade, homegrown is the motto. So if you make your own things, if you grow your own herbs, if you, make soap, come to the People's Market, because that's where you get your platform. We're like a launching pad and an ecosystem for entrepreneurs.
That's cool. That's cool. Where can they find that at?
Online, but right now we are in a bit of a transition. So the property that we were operating from is being sold. So we are looking for a new home, but in the meantime, we have a program that we operate in our off season called Side Hustle University. And Side Hustle University started in 2023 because post pandemic, lots of people was taking their side hustles very serious, or they started during the pandemic. Look, people got creative. People were like making hand sanitizer, making masks, starting t-shirts. A lot of folks were furloughed from their jobs. So they're like, you know what, I got to do something. And so we started seeing a lot of applications come in. And that's actually when I started managing the market. And so in 2023, we were like, let's start a pilot program to help these entrepreneurs that are launching their businesses, because it's like, oh, I got a side hustle, and you get a logo, you got your social media, you get your website, and it's like, but then what? And I learned that the hard way. Listen, being from Philly, I'm the ultimate hustler. I always got to hustle, right? I always got something going on. But I remember when I really first started my business back in like 2011. Listen, I was doing cakes and desserts and things of that nature. I was like, yep. And someone contracted me to do some things for them. And I was like, okay. And they wrote me a check. And I skipped all the way to the bank, put that check on the counter. And the lady was like, who is Grace Cakes? I was like, that's me. She was like, Miss Skinner, you don't have a business account. I was like, but this is my check though. And I knew, okay, this is a whole nother ball game. So I just had to educate myself on what it means to be an entrepreneur. Like, get your ducks in a row, get your stuff together. And so that's what Side Hustle University is about. It's about educating people, like getting your paperwork together, because we know when those PPP loans came out, everybody wasn't legit, of course, but there was some people that had their businesses in order in a way so they can get that funding. And we talk about all of those things. What does it look like to get funded? Grants. Because everybody want a grant, everybody want a business loan, but do you have the paper trail to show that your business is profitable enough for you to get those things?
Nice.
So
Yo, your earrings are dope.
listen, I love
That was like a sidetrack, but it's like these earrings, y'all can't really see, but they look like flowers, but it's actually words on them.
They were made from pages of a book.
That's dope.
Shout
Who
out
did
to
that?
Liz Seymour.
That's
Yes,
dope. Yeah, those are hot.
Yeah.
I was just peeping. I was like, it's words on her earrings. Words.
Yes. And that's another part of who I am. So
That's dope.
I represent that all the time. And I'm so big on community, so I'm always representing something that somebody has made or a business, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's earrings, my hair care, shout out to Mara Raw Organics and her hair products, got my twist out looking good, whether anybody local, I love to support my people. Okay. So that's what community organizing looks like.
That's what's up. That's a beautiful thing. So you're also a poet.
I am.
So
spoken word.
Tell me about that. Like, what got you into poetry, and what is it to your life?
So I find freedom in my pen, and I started writing at 11. I was 11, living in Philly, 80s, 90s, crack era. I'm truth and transparency. My mother was an addict, and I grew up around a lot of addiction. I grew up in the hood, so I've seen a lot of things. And so coming from that background, I would find myself wanting to escape and just creating my own reality. And so I started writing, and then I found myself just loving the art of spoken word. I think one of my teachers, because I would go to school and just not participate, not speak, not do anything. And I think she gave me the collection of poems by Maya Angelou, and it just was like, it inspired me to write. It inspired me to do that more. And so what it means for my life is just, it's like breathing. Everything is poetry to me. This conversation is poetry.
That's dope. So you're gonna give us a poem or something?
Well, you want me to give you a poem right now?
I'm just saying.
You want me to give you a poem?
The people want to know. The world is watching. The world is watching.
Right. So I dead bulls like a matador, with alliterations and metaphors. Lyrical poet, my flow is never flawed. Rest in peace, main man, they about to get these bars. Every time I spit, gonna bring that heat. Like Molly Maid, I'm about to sweep these streets. Watch my smoke, I'm burning poetry. Get high off my wordplay, intoxicating. Bring life to the mic, resuscitation. BBW, big beautiful words, I got a plus size pen. Read between the lines, there's a story within. I took childhood trauma, being a teenage mama, relationship drama, and yelled out, plot twist. I've been blessed with this poetic gift. I'm able to right my wrong, bleed on pages, come live on stages, shift any atmosphere that I'm in. My voice is prophetic. That's why they call me poetess. My cadence is like a fragrance. When I leave, it lingers. I could bring you to tears and then turn right around and arouse your members. And I stay ready, always one in a clip. Haiku, acrostic, sonnet, or free verse. I conceive concepts and then give birth. Every one of us has a story to tell, and before I leave this earth, I'm going to tell mine well. Poem.
Get some.
Little soft slide.
That's dope. Okay, so let's deep dive into childhood trauma. You mentioned that in the poem.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Ooh, yeah. From as long as I can remember, I have always been a runner. I remember early as 2, always running and hiding. I would hide under my grandmother's bed. I would hide. We lived in one of those big Victorian houses, 3 stories. Wow. And she had this closet in her room, and it had a bunch of clothes, but in the back of the closet, there was a window. And I remember just shuffling through the clothes and just running in that closet and just going by that window and just looking out that window. Sometimes for what I don't know what I was looking for. And it probably was sometimes my mother. My mother was not, some people are functional addicts. My mom wasn't one of those. She was not a functional addict. When she was up, though, don't get me wrong, she was a thoroughbred. One of my hats over there say thoroughbred, because when she was clean, She was amazing, beautiful. But when she relapsed and was getting high, she just wasn't there. And I remember her leaving and going and staying gone weeks and weeks at a time, days and weeks at a time. And I would always wonder where she was at. And my grandmother, oh my goodness, Jessie Sherman, Mother Sherman is what everybody called her growing up in Philly, but she had some deep Southern roots, and she was a Southern woman and apostolic and Pentecostal, and so it was praying, everything. So I remember, I can tell you where anxiety started for me. Anxiety started by always talking about we living in the last days, Jesus coming like a thief in the night. Those phrases at 4 and 5,
right.
You like, dang, I grew up, promise you, I grew up relieving. I would never grow up, have kids, drive a car or nothing. Because he coming like a thief in the night. That's probably why I was so scared. It's like, oh, Jesus coming
Looking
tomorrow.
out the window.
Like, Jesus coming tomorrow. So,
right.
yeah, that is where it all started for me. And I remember sometimes my mom coming in and being, they call it coming down off of her high and just like not being recognizable. Just like it was something else there. And she was not, she would be looking terrible and talking out the side of her head. They call it skitzing. And my grandma like would open up all the windows and all the doors. Like this is dead winter. And she getting the oil and she like, it's oil, it's tongue speaking, it's oil being flung, it's hands laying, and then me and my sister, we gotta get on our knees. And she like, Terry, call Jesus. And I know some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Jesus, just call him, because she like, if the demons coming off of her, we don't want them to enter you. So you gotta. So I'm like literally a toddler, like witnessing this stuff, And so it was a lot of that, a lot of religiosity, a lot of religion being forced on us. Noonday prayer, shut-ins, sleeping at the church. We was at church every day, all the time. And then on Sundays, but I love it now because that's where I get a lot of my roots with cooking, because we always had somebody at our house. Always. My grandmother cooked for everyone. Wow. Everyone. That's how she made her living. It's so funny how things have come full circle for me, because she always had me in the kitchen. That was my duty. My duty was to be in the kitchen and sifting, measuring, putting things together. She always, what's that saying? Way through a man's heart is through his stomach. Don't no man want no woman that can't keep house. Don't no man want no woman that can't cook. You gotta, and she always instilled that in me. And so from an early age, I remember just knowing, just being in the kitchen. And so we always had people at our home. And sometimes it was great, but sometimes it was not so great. The third floor, living in that house, she always rented, so we had what they call boarders. So there was always people living in our house, in and out of our house. Some of them came from all types of backgrounds, so I saw a lot.
That was your beginning of community.
That was my biggest. Listen. That was the organizer and training.
Right, I'm telling you.
OIT program.
Right, that was it.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
Okay, so high school, college.
No.
Straight from Philly to the South. When?
Straight from Philly to the South. I did not. I promise you. Like I tell people this all the time. A lot of people think that I college education. No, I got kicked out of school in the 8th grade in North Carolina. I went to school in Philadelphia. Was it 97 when we first moved to the South? I think 98. 98. I think I was like 15. I was wild. So I have to tell that story. So after the whole childhood, growing up, tarrying for the Holy Ghost, my grandmother passed when I was 10. And when she passed away, it was like everything just fell apart. Like literally, my mom, because my mom now couldn't depend on her to raise us. So she had 2 children that got sent to North Carolina. And then me and my oldest sister moved in with a family friend. And for months, or I think it might have been like over almost a year, after my grandmother passed, we lived in that house. And that year was just hectic. I remember just like nobody talk. I have a poem, and it's called 11. And I talk about when I was 11 years old, and I remember like nobody teaching me to wash clothes or do my hair, so I skipped school because I didn't want the kids pick. They already picked them because they knew your mama was a fiend. They already kind of like, your mama crackhead, you know what I'm saying? So it just became that, and so I was like, I don't know about this, and then so at 11, I was wild. Like, and by 12.
In what way? Fighting?
No, like, yeah, like at 11, I met this girl named TT. Like, she was about 14, and she was always skipping school. I would skip school with TT, and we would go smoke. And we would go smoke, and then she had the guys come pick us up, and look, back then it's like, what you want to do, you know what I'm saying? You want a pair of Reeboks, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, the corner boys, you do what you got to do for the Reeboks. So it's like, all right, cool, this is what we do. Skip school, go hang out with the dudes, go do whatever. And so I got a taste of that street life, got a taste of that. So at 12, my mom went to rehab, and my dad took me in. This is the first time I'm moving in with my dad. He's had always been present. But I moved in with him for the first time, and it was like he trying to have rules, and I don't like it.
You have too much freedom.
Too much, like for this past freedom. Year, I'm on my own because you couldn't tell me I wasn't grown. So 12. Oh man, I was just like, I started just like doing everything, just smoking, just like being promiscuous, just trying to find myself, trying to find my voice, right? And it's funny because people know me from doing poetry and then doing some other things now, but they don't know that I remember writing my first erotic poem when I was that age.
What age?
I was 12.
12 doing an erotic poem?
You know why? Because
you was overexposed.
And don't act like y'all wasn't reading Zane, okay? We was reading Zane, and you couldn't tell y'all wasn't the next Zane. Y'all getting an exclusive here, okay?
Right.
So yes, and then I remember being 13, and I met this guy, and oh my goodness, he was older.
Look, that sounds like the turnout is happening right now.
He was older, and I would say he had to be at least 28, if not a little bit older.
And you were 13.
I was 13, yeah.
Wow.
And he had a Mustang 5.0. He had 2 of them. He had a red one, and he had a black one. And I'm 13, so I don't know nothing about it. All I know is he got a car. He come pick me up. He give me weed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had my beeper. He paid my pager bill. This is like 95-ish.
Way back then.
Yes, he was my first like sugar daddy. Like, y'all getting exclusive, I'm telling you. So I'm like, I just knew that that's what it was. This the little 95 Lil' Kim era, so the colorful wigs, all the glitz and glam. He would pick me up, and we would go riding. But I remember sleeping with this man, right? And this say to RTV, I hope this is not too explicit, but I remember reaching an orgasm and being like, oh my God. I felt
at 13,
and I didn't know. I'm 13. I don't know. It did something to me mentally. It did something to me, and from that moment on, it was like it felt like he took something from me.
Wow.
And so that turned into me still being promiscuous, but being really dominant. I started to have this dom type of energy about me because I'm like, ain't nobody's gonna take that from me. If I want you to have it, I'll give it to you. You know what I'm saying? So that started that. So
let me tap into one thing.
yeah.
Now, I asked somebody before they was talking about getting high, and they said that first high is like so powerful that they chase the high, and that's what continue, make them continue to get high.
Right.
So with that first moment, that orgasmic moment, did you chase that?
No, I actually ran from it.
Wow.
I shunned away. I didn't want, because he gave it to me, and I feel like he took something from. It was overwhelming.
Okay.
Because I started at 11, because we said that earlier. I started at 11, but they was little boys. You know what I'm saying? They was, you know what I'm saying? Maybe the oldest might have been 16, 17, because it was always an older boy. But this was a man. This was a man, and he knew what he was doing, and even though it was consensual, you that age, you're not thinking like somebody, ain't no pedophile. I want it, but honey, it was not me chasing it. That's why I took that dominance. Okay. And I started to kind of like.
You wanted to be empowered.
I wanted to be empowered.
You felt weak when he did that.
I felt every bit of it, and I was like, I didn't like it. So that's what made me start to chase this like dom type of energy. So yeah. And after that, my mom, she would get clean. And when she was clean, she tried to implement stuff. And I would be like, no ma'am, I'm grown. Not knowing I'm not grown, nowhere near grown, but I thought I was. So I played the old switcheroo. I say this in one of my poems. So I befriended addiction. So I became addicted to just chasing. I became doing the same things you was doing. You leave home for 5 days, I'm leaving home for 5 days. And I would run away from home. I was like a runaway child. Yeah, it was like, I remember one time I stayed gone for like a week, and I was on the avenue because, old dude had gave me some money. I'm like, I gotta go pay my pager bill. I gotta do this. I was at friend's house, just hopping from house to house. And I remember seeing my sister and my mom and my brother's dad, and they saw me and they was like, there she go right there. And I start running, and I just didn't want to be home. It just was a lot to see. And, it was like, I learned early on that hyper independence, because I'll go home, everything be good, and then she get high again. And so then it's, all right, what we got to do? Because my mom would always give me the money. If she didn't want to get high with the money that was for a bill or for something, she would give it to me, because she know it's out of sight. Like, what money you talking about? Right. Because it don't exist. So, yeah, so I became, yes.
What year did you have your first child?
2000.
In 2000.
How old were you? 16. So that's by that time. So that's by that time we was doing all that. Her kids was down here. So she was like, you know what? I'm gonna move to the South. She thinking the South is gonna change things. It's gonna slow me down. It's going to help her get clean, and then she'll be closer to the children. Right. And so we moved down here in 99 for the first time. Oh my goodness, you couldn't. I remember I was 15.
You had a flashback, didn't you?
I did, you saw that. We moved from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to Roxborough, North Carolina.
What was that like?
What? It was a culture shock. I was like, what is this? What is this? This so country. All you see.
Super slow?
Super slow. Super slow. There's no subway. There's no SEPTA. The bus. There's no SEPTA. There's no corner store. There's no poppy stores. Like, there's no bodega. There's like everything, and it was so noisy. All of the crickets and cicadas. I was like, what?
At nighttime?
We're at nighttime. I was like, why is it so loud? It's no sirens. I was used to another type of loud, but it was so loud. So I did not like it. It was definitely a culture shock. And so I would hop on Greyhound, and I would go back and forth from Greyhound, from Philadelphia to North Carolina, between my mom and my dad. I went to school. I didn't like it. I stayed in trouble, stayed fighting, and got kicked out. Got kicked out of school, and
Never went back?
Never went back. I went to Job Corps, so I went to Job Corps. So because when I got down to North Carolina and got down to, especially in Roxborough, and all that stuff that I was doing up there, man, they sent my little ass to juvie. I went to juvie, and they were like, "You got to do something," and so went to juvenile detention and signed up for Job Corps and went to Job Corps, and I didn't like it either. But I liked the culinary program. I liked the culinary program, but then I met, a little in there. Supposed to been doing, what you're supposed to do in there, but didn't. And got pregnant. And then I was just like, okay, well, this is it. And, coming from our upbringing, sometimes in our culture, it's like, it's not about you anymore. You got a baby, you gonna take care of it. That's it. Your life is over. You know what I'm saying? Right. Sometimes that's what is pushed on us. And so had my daughter at 16.
My mother had me at 16.
Yeah.
Sure did. Yeah.
And so I went back to Philadelphia, went to stay with my dad for a little while, was up there, and then realized I didn't really want to stay there. I think that's when I changed. Shout out to my daughter Lakaya, because that's when I started to calm down a lot. I calmed down, and became a mom at 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have now?
7.
You got 7 kids.
Yes.
You have a great cookout. The cookout gonna be
it's always a good time over here.
That's
yes,
right.
I have 3 girls and 4 boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any grands?
Yes.
How many grands you got?
I got 5 living grandchildren,
Wow.
2 angel grandbabies that's over there on my mantle,
Okay.
and 1 on the way.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cookout's gonna be lit.
I just was like, those are just my 3 daughters that have kids right now. I still have 4 boys that haven't even started having kids yet.
Oh wow.
So I'm gonna be like the old lady that lived in the shoe. I'm gonna have so many kids and grandkids, I ain't gonna know what to do.
So let's talk about how you stepped in your grandma's shoes on the cooking side of things.
Oh yeah. So
When did that start for you?
it has always been a part of my life.
Okay.
It has always, even when I was going through my troubles and things, I have always been the go-to person to, even when she passed away, I've always been the one to fix Thanksgiving or, family gatherings and bring people together. It's always been, Shante, you gonna make that potato salad. Shante, you gonna make the yams. Shante, you gonna make this. And then it was the cakes. My mom, when she was getting high and stuff, she was like, can you make something sweet, banana pudding, key lime pie, something. So it has always been a part of my life. But actually, when I moved to Greensboro in 2010, from Roxborough, moved to Greensboro, and I was just like, okay, the job market has always been, a little struggle for me because, I caught a little charge, caught a little something, trying to be a little ride or die for one of my baby daddies.
Gotta do it. Ride or
Listen, try to do it. It wasn't even a felony, but, we still caught something at 18, and so work had always been an issue for me. And plus, I've always had the hustle mentality coming from up there. So it was just like, I always gonna make something. I always gonna make $500 out of $5. So I'm gonna do something. And so when I moved to Greensboro, I started to look around to fill the area out or whatever. And I began to attend a local church. And, trying to get my life together, was with my now ex-husband at the time. And we were getting ready to get married. So I was like, I'm going to do my own wedding cake. So, we're going to have a little budget shotgun wedding. So I'm going to do my own wedding cake. And so I took some cake decorating courses. And, the church that I was attending, they would, do the old church fish fry for the building fund. That's what we used to do. But then people wanted to oh, can I buy a whole cake? And I was like, oh yeah, yeah, you can do that. So I was like, people like these. And so every time we would have one of the fish fries or plate sales, I would always provide the desserts. And from that, people started to want, because they get a slice and they're like, nah, I want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like, what, can I get 3 slices of the banana
Right.
pudding pound cake? Can I get 4 slices of this? Can I get, and then they were calling me to get more. And so I was like, all right, so this is about to be my new hustle.
Right.
And that's back when I talked about earlier in the video, talking about Grace Cakes. And I was just like, I was hustling. I had my little cute little logo, made my Facebook page, and was taking orders and things. And that's where it started for me. And then got involved with the People's Market. And then there was a local church that I had volunteered to serve the meal. They heard about my desserts and was like, ooh, would you like to make your desserts? We'll buy all the ingredients. You make your desserts and we'll give it to the community at our community meal. And I was like, sure. So I started to volunteer making the desserts, and it went from me volunteering to do that to them like, well, we would like to hire you to work in the kitchen. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went from volunteering to serve the meal to making desserts for the meal to actually getting hired. They wanted me to prep, plan, do the entire meal. And I did that for almost 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
remember I used to be on your phone like, what's a commercial kitchen?
Yes.
And I was jumping my juices off. She came up with the slogan, it's a whole mood.
It's a whole
for the honey lemon drop juice.
Yes, the honey lemon drop. I want
I
something.
remember you sipping on it. You was like, yo, it's a whole mood.
In the bottle. Like, it's a mood in the bottle. Like, it was like that. Like, you take a couple sips and you just sit back and you like, just sit right here. That's it.
I'm telling you, that is good right there. I gotta make some more too, by the way. It's almost that season.
It's almost
coming
that.
up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for April when they get the little 420 moments happening.
Yeah.
Hemp juice in the building.
Yes.
So, Potter's House, Cottage
House.
Cottage House. Tell the world about Cottage House.
So the Cottage House is where we are now, and how the Cottage House got started is when I started managing the People's Market, I had took a pause from the Grace Cakes. I had paused doing my own business, and I started a business for my family, Philly NC. We was doing the whole Philadelphia Italian ice, the water ice, the soft pretzels concession, and things of that nature. And I just wanted to teach my kids some financial literacy. So I took a pause on baking and doing my own thing to pour into the other entrepreneurs that of the market that I was managing. And so after 5 years, now that the market is in transition and I'm in transition, I went from being married. I was with my ex-husband almost 18 years. We got divorced in 2022, and then I had a little hot girl summer. I was like, listen, I was faithful those 18 years.
So wait, let's take it back, Phil. Let's take it back. 'Cause, we crossed the street too fast. Let's go back a little bit. So, what ended 18 years of marriage?
Ooh, we're gonna get back to the Cottage House because it all ties in together. What ends 18 years of not growth? I tell people all the time, you don't fall in love, you grow in love. And love is fleeting, love is fickle, love, what Tina say, is a secondhand emotion, and love does not sustain a relationship. It is commitment, accountability. It is choosing that person over and over again, and also always looking at the changing. Hoping and wishing that something would change when you continuously see that there's no growth happening. And so I had this whole fantasy. I romanticized my marriage. I did. I loved him. I love that man, and I love him to this day. As a person. It's unfortunate that our relationship is not as strong as it was, even as co-parents. But just it was very stagnant, and some of the things that I wanted to see happen as far as foundation wise, if you don't have a strong foundation before you even get married, and that's what I tell people all the time when I look at it, like you have to have a strong foundation and know where you're going. And sometimes it's like, okay, you tired, let me get in the driver's seat for a little while. And there was not a lot of that. And so my childhood trauma, I started going to therapy. Listen, I was like, look, I learned we can have God and the therapist, okay? And he didn't want those things. He didn't want to address his own issues and things that he was dealing with in the battles and so I initially just was like, I thought we was just gonna separate and maybe get it together, but that it didn't happen that way. So ended that, and then like I said, I had a little hot girl summer, had that happen, and then entered into another relationship, and that relationship, I learned a lot. I went. He was young. He was young, and he was younger than 10 years younger than I was.
So wait, let's go back. What is a hot girl summer? Explain for the people.
A hot girl summer is you outside, okay? You outside. So I think I was 37, 38, and for somebody that has been in relationships from the time that they were 16 to, being promiscuous at a young age, this was very freeing for me, being newly separated and divorced. I didn't know what dating was. Dating was not something that I was really introduced to. I'm not going to say I wasn't introduced to it, because my dad definitely showed me some things. It's not something that I implemented in my life. So I was outside. I had a hot girl summer. It's like, okay, you want a date? You get a date, and you get a date, and you get a date. And
take me out. Then you take me out.
I'm like, okay, not saying, we being intimate with all of these people, but it's like, I'm like,
having fun.
I'm having fun.
Being free.
I was definitely outside, okay? And that's when a lot of the poetess, a lot of people was introduced to the poetess during that time.
Okay.
That's a lot of people know me for my poetry. Does my poetry offend you the way I choose to deliver these words? Does my poetry offend you because my sexuality can be heard? So that's where a lot of that came from. That, and I had a nickname that I'm not even gonna tell y'all what the nickname was. I'm not even gonna tell y'all, because I was like, oh my God, they would see me come in the open mic and they would just be like, and I was like, okay, they gonna stop calling me that. But then I had to shift it, because I was like, my poetry is more than the erotic side. I didn't want to be boxed in as the erotic poet, and I started to be that. But that's what a hot girl summer is. A hot girl summer is just like, you outside, you feeling yourself, you just being free or whatever. And I had a good hot girl.
Had a good summer.
I did.
Probably had a couple summers.
No, it was just that. Listen, it was 21 and 22. It was up. It was up. Yes, okay, it was up. Okay. And then I met the gentleman that I decided, I don't know what it was about him. It just was something about him. He was a twin. He was my twin. Like, he was just like me, just the younger version, just like wild and free, and just like, he had no filter, but he loved everything that I loved, and I loved everything that he loved. We were just so alike, and we locked in. I was just like, I what they say, I left my hoes. I left my roster. I was like, I left my roster, and then me and him had locked in. And so I was like, okay, this is nice. And It had its challenges. I'm not gonna lie, like it didn't have its challenges, but it had its perks too. It had a lot of growth between him and me, and I could say this openly because, like I told you, I'm truth and transparency. That empowering, dominant part of me that I took on from 13 years old. I no longer had to be that with him. I didn't have to be that.
Soft girl era.
Yes, I was passenger princess. Listen, when I tell you, like, if I call that man and be like, I want to go, like, people saw it on social media. They was like, oh, look at them. They goals or whatever. Right. So a lot of that was going on, and a lot of, like, intimacy wise, he got me out of that space of needing to be dominant and,
relax, right?
Right. He got me there. So, and he became one of my greatest friends. He was, okay. But as you grow.
Now, let me ask you that.
What's that?
Because you mentioned he was you. Mm-hmm. So at some point, did you outgrow being in that stage of yourself to where it didn't work with him no more?
No. Listen, I don't want to tell nobody else's story, but I know for me, I had from a young age, growing up in having to move fast, and having my own hot girl summer, and also having that freeing moment of just like, I'm not with nobody. When I separated from my ex-husband, it just was me and my kids. And so I just was like, I was able to do what I wanted to do. And for him, he never had that. Those was the hard conversations that me and him always talked about. We still talk about that. We talk. And that always would come up. He was just like, man, I went from relationship to relationship to relationship. When I met him, he was 28. Mm-hmm. I was 38. You know what I mean? So 28-year-old man, you think about that. He was with his baby mom since he was 23. Before that, he, had high school girlfriends. He was always in a relationship.
So you was 38 with a 28, and then you had a 28 and you was 13. That 28 is still popping around that number.
Right. I might need to play that number. I might need to play that. Right. But yeah, so... that would always come up, and I know that, like, as friends, I valued our friendship the most in his honesty, because most men they not truthful about what they go through. He told me his deepest, most intimate secrets, and I told him mine, and we would share those moments together, and that would always come up. And I was like, well, if you feel that strongly that that's what you need to do, go ahead and free yourself. I'm not going to sit up here, because we tried. He's like, no, but I really, like, it's like, this is like bad timing, because I really appreciate this relationship, because I've grown so much, but it's nothing if you just be like, dang, I've always been in a relationship, and it's just like, this is a lot. And, trying to blend families. I got 7 kids. He got 2 kids. It was, yeah.
A lot of work.
It was a lot of work. But, he's doing the work. And I wish him well on everything that he has.
Are you currently in a relationship?
I am not.
So,
I am
hot
not.
girl summer this summer?
2026. Listen, I don't know. Listen, y'all been seeing me. I've been in the gym. I've been in the pool. I've been like getting to good, like Tahoe. Like, what I'm saying? I don't know if it's a hot girl summer or if it's just just me. I'm embracing the cottage house, which brings us back to the cottage house. I was living with him. I had gotten to a space where I moved in with him after, the housing crisis that we are in our country. Rent prices as high as the draft coochie. And like, if, the housing buying right now looks kind of whatever, going through those instabilities with housing. And I have been there. So, after I had one of my angel babies, my granddaughter passed away, I started to have mental health issues, just anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of panic attacks, a lot of those things. And he was like, well, look, you're not in a mental state to do anything. So we could go to Danville, He got a house that's paid for, it's a house, that he inherited from family. And I was just like, at first I looked at him like, I need my independence because they're hyper independence. But then, that soft girl era, passenger princess type of thing. So I did. I let my guard down and I learned a lot in that. I learned a lot for moving in with him. And so, but then towards the end when we had that decision to just like end the relationship, I was like, all right, well, what I'm going to do now? And so I had lost my job. Income wasn't coming in. But I was just like, ultimate hustler, right? I'm always going to make something shake. And so that's where the Cottage House was born. I remember I am heavily rooted in this particular neighborhood in Greensboro, the Glenwood neighborhood. I've done a lot of community organizing in this neighborhood. The soup kitchen that I was talking about earlier that I worked at for almost 4 years was in this neighborhood. I'm on the neighborhood association. I've done National Night Out over here in this neighborhood, bringing police and community together. A lot of people thought I lived in this neighborhood. I started ministry in this because we skipped past that, how I was ordained in the church for a little while, and then did a lot of things.
Once ordained, always ordained. What you say?
Listen. But this neighborhood has always been a part of my journey. And so I remember just knowing who the owner of this property was, came to talk to him about it. And at first, the arrangement was for me to just move out and possibly just like, work on our relationship in a distance. And, my children was still going to school in Virginia where he was at. And then it just was like, nah. And so when I first walked in here, I was like, this how little? Because, I'm thinking about all my children. But then It dawned on me like, girl, half your kids is adults. Like, you only have 2 minors, left. And I was like, yeah, my daughter's out on their own. They got their own places. And so I was like, okay, I could make it work. Right. And so I was like, okay, I walked in the kitchen because that was the most important part, is because in North Carolina, the cottage laws are you can be a home processor in a house to do baked goods, jams, jellies, sauces, certain types of drinks. And you can get your kitchen certified under the Department of Agriculture. So you don't have to go through the health department because, first of all, Guilford County Health Department is a pain in the neck. But you can get it certified under the Department of Agriculture, under the cottage laws. Okay. And so I looked around and I was like, okay, I can make this work, I'm always in the kitchen making things. And so walked in the kitchen and in the little pantry area, and I was like, okay, this is it. And so that's where it came from. I went outside and I sat outside, and the Cottage House just came to me because the Cottage House is a small, quaint home, and I'm implementing cottage laws. The Cottage House, that's what it is. It's more than just food. It's like, it's legacy. Nice.
Mm-hmm. So do you actually feel like you're attached to your ancestors?
Listen, I do. I definitely do. So every time I'm in the kitchen, I just feel like there's a little bit of Jessie in me. I always feel a little bit of her. And I always like, even when it comes down, I don't write recipes down. Someone told me that I needed to start writing down my recipes, and that's like so my kids can have them, because my boys, they be in here, they get down too. My daughters, they do a little something, but these boys,
they're paying attention, huh?
They paying attention. Yeah. They be in here and they be throwing down. I be like, dang, what happened? I'm like, I took something out to cook and they done made it already. Like, oh, man. So they, especially my son, my youngest son, Nicodemus, who was at the People's Market, he went online, put in his application for the People's Market, and he was ready to be a vendor. Like, I didn't tell him, he did that on his own. So they all have the entrepreneur spirit in them as well. So that's why I know that this place, it was like meant for me to be here, because being in this neighborhood and doing so much work in this neighborhood, it just is so significant. So
let me ask you a deep question.
Ask me to go deep dive. Go ahead.
How does it feel being a black woman? in America?
Black woman in America. That is a deep question. I'm gonna give the most honest answer, and the first thing that came to my mind is tiring. It's tiring. It's tiring. It's this is the mask we all wear. You know, we smile and we nurture and we pour and we put on this smoke and mirrors, but where is that place where we get respite, where we go to just release and be vulnerable without, feeling like we have to carry it all? That's for me. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but for me, it has always been that, like, I feel like I always have to have it together. Like, I don't always feel like I can have a moment where I can be like, I'm not okay. Because it's okay not to be all right, But it's like, okay, well, if you say you're not good, and you got everybody watching you, you got to hold it together. So I always look for spaces. And that's why I'm so vulnerable. I tell people I am an open book because I want us to be free. I want people to feel free when they are around me. That is church to me. Church is somewhere that you can just let it go and be free and be yourself in all aspects of yourself, whatever that looks like.
Okay. So, what would you tell the 13-year-old you?
Oh, what would I tell 13-year-old Shante Renee? It's all a lie. It's all a lie. Everything that, like, it's all a lie. That's what I would say. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, she believed so many things. She was so, like, she had so many thoughts. Her subconsciously picked up a lot of things. Thought she would never, like, be anywhere, go anywhere, do anything important. And it was all a lie. Yeah.
Okay, so this is my last question. So, with all that you learned today, right? What would you tell the next generation of young women?
So when I think about the next generation of young women, I think about my descendants. And that's what I always say. We don't think about our descendants enough. Like, we don't think about our children's children's children. And so when I look at my grandgirls, Soraya and Kayor and Azori, and when I look at my grandsons, I would just tell them to have integrity, to live their life unapologetically, to take the time to get to know themselves. We are on a planet, okay? And this is what I want people to understand. We are on a planet, and the weight of all the things, the societal norms will come at you. The way you're supposed to live, the financial pieces of everything. You don't have to fit into societal norms of what they say that you're supposed to be and supposed to do. It's okay to be up. It's okay to be down. Take the highs and the lows. Take all of those things and embrace them because they're all lessons. There is no winning without failing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So how can the people follow you?
So how can they find Shante Renee? So on Instagram, that's where all my poetry is, okay? Poetess _ Shante Renee. That's POETESS Shante SHANTERENEE. And on Facebook, I'm just Shante Renee. And Side Hustle University on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And the People's Market. And some things is in the works, so y'all just follow me.
So there it is, y'all. The world is listening on Save the Arts TV. Here with Shante Renee.
Shante Renee, yes.
Hey, yo. Save the Arts TV. Let's go.